Imagine an India where the economy crawls at a snail's pace, choked by regulations and isolated from global markets. This was the scenario before the 90s. The License Raj system tightly controlled business operations, requiring numerous permits and licenses, which stifled innovation and growth. Protectionist policies shielded domestic industries, but also kept them inefficient and globally non-competitive. The Indian economy was burdened with high fiscal deficits and escalating foreign debts, pushing it to the brink of a severe crisis. This dire situation set the stage for sweeping reforms, heralding a new dawn in the Indian economy. Enter P.V. Narasimha Rao, the unlikely architect of India's economic transformation. In 1991, Rao assumed the mantle of Prime Minister during a critical period of economic crisis. With India's foreign reserves at a low ebb, capable of barely funding 3 weeks of imports, the stakes were monumental. In response, Rao, in a strategic alliance with then Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, initiated sweeping liberalization reforms. These were bold, unprecedented steps aimed at opening up the Indian economy to global markets. With a vision for a revitalized India, Rao's administration was poised to redraw the economic landscape. July 1991, a month that flipped the script of the Indian economy. In the grip of a severe financial crisis, India was on the brink of defaulting on its external balance of payments. It was a critical juncture that called for bold and decisive action. Enter P.V. Narasimha Rao, who stepped in as Prime Minister and orchestrated a series of radical economic reforms that would transform the nation. One of the first moves was slashing the high import tariffs that had insulated India, but also stifled its growth. By reducing these tariffs, Rao opened the Indian market to foreign goods, which increased competition and improved the quality of products available to Indian consumers. Next, the government turned its attention to the suffocating regulations that had long governed India's industrial sector. Rao's administration introduced policies that deregulated industries, making it easier for businesses to start, operate, and expand. This shift not only fueled industrial growth but also sparked an entrepreneurial spirit across the country. Privatization of public sector enterprises was another cornerstone of Rao's reform agenda. By reducing the government's involvement in businesses, these entities were pushed towards greater efficiency and profitability, which was crucial for a country burdened by heavy fiscal deficits. Additionally, Rao's government liberalized foreign investment policies, welcoming capital from overseas investors. This move was complemented by the simplification of tax structures, making it less cumbersome for businesses to comply and more attractive for foreign investment. These reforms not only averted the immediate crisis, but also laid the foundation for India's future growth. Decades later, the echoes of Rao's reforms still resonate throughout India's bustling markets and thriving industries. When P.V. Narasimha Rao took the helm in 1991, he inherited an economy on the brink of collapse. The reforms he introduced not only averted a financial crisis, but also marked the beginning of a new era in India's economic history. Today, we see the fruits of his vision through sustained economic growth and an enhanced standard of living for millions. Since the implementation of these reforms, India's gross domestic product growth rates have surged remarkably. From the early 90s, where growth hovered around a modest 3%, the economy expanded to achieve rates of up to 7% in subsequent years. This acceleration can largely be attributed to the liberalization policies that opened up the economy to foreign investments and competition. Furthermore, the expansion of the private sector has been phenomenal. Prior to the reforms, stringent regulations stifled entrepreneurship and private enterprise. Post-reform, we witnessed a boom in startups and Indian companies that began to make their mark on the global stage. This shift not only fueled economic growth, but also created countless job opportunities, improving the quality of life for many. The global competitiveness of Indian businesses saw a significant uptick as well. Companies that once struggled to compete on the international stage are now leading players in industries such as information technology, pharmaceuticals, and automotive. This has not only brought in substantial foreign exchange revenues, but also elevated India's stature in the global marketplace. P.V. Narasimha Rao's bold reforms transformed a struggling economy into a global player, proving that with visionary leadership, change is not just possible, but inevitable.